people understand that? I don't know if they do. Do you love your children? Hopefully, if you have them, yes. Do you love them all the same? Probably not. How's that? Well, this one always listens, this one doesn't. I mean, you truly love everybody the same, or in some way, but by the same token, you don't. Same as if you have 2 dogs, if you have 5 dogs, you have 10 children. Do you love them all the same? Can you? Well, no, that one doesn't like to do this with me, that one doesn't like to do this with me, but this one likes to do what I like to do. I mean, we filter it into all these things. But what about your wife or your husband? How much love are you giving them when you got 10 children now? The sexting helps people, in most cases, in love affairs and love relationships. That dwindles the more children you have because you have less time and less space and less anything else to do it. So you take one thing out of the picture, energy gets put into other parts of the picture. So it becomes out of balance. Our concept of family is pretty singular, meaning to what one person thinks it should be, and who tells us what it should be. Love is not just about family. Oh, I know, I love my dog, I love my cat, I love this, I love my fish. That's still not where it ends or where it really begins. The love that people should be focused on more than anything other than anything that lives on this planet or a part of this realm is the love that allows us to be here. Out of its great love, it allows us to be. Even though we're fools, idiots, and all those other words, ignorant, evil, it allows us to be. Not for the idea to become worse, but to become aware and real to ourselves. When you hurt somebody else, you hurt yourself more. Miley Cyrus' song is I Love You More. In relationships, a lot of times it is like that. And in most cases, one has to be the loving person that gives, and the other one has to be the one that receives. Not that they're both giving and receiving equally, which is equally as important. Where I said it originally, before, 100% is what you have to give, not 50, 60, 70, not even 99%. It has to be 100%. Because 1% can throw you out of the picture of being in that spot and take you back into the 50-50, 40-30, whatever. Way out of numbers that it should be. So, when we talk about love, I talk about love of God and God's love for us. And it doesn't mean God's sitting there, standing there, however you perceive your God to be, watching you, protecting you, guiding you. God gave you a consciousness, a soul, and everything else to work with. It doesn't have to tell you to get up and go to the bathroom, or it shouldn't. And then these people that become 600-700 pounds because they just didn't feel like getting up today, is that God's fault? I hear the word God in a lot of pain and suffering and screaming, yelling, and cursing. Everybody has to blame something. And when things are real bad, you blame the highest thing you can think of. And it's funny. Everybody says Jesus for some reason, or God. You don't hear Buddha, Allah, Allah damn it, or Buddha damn it, or any other words. You always hear Jesus and God. Why is that? You're programmed like the F word? I never say the F word. I mean, there's I think he's a Lama, and he has, I think it's 1,000 ways to use the F word. It is funny. It's online. You pull it up, listen to it. It'll make you crack up. And it'll go into, when we use a word, we can use that word as every kind of a word, meaning almost everything and anything. But I don't use it at all. But when we have our language twisted, our thoughts twisted, we're in the box. We're not looking to get out of it. And I'm telling you, it's time to get out of it. Let go of that. Look from a different viewpoint. See a mirror. See yourself in the mirror. Now go behind the mirror and look at yourself from that viewpoint. And that's being able to leave your body. So you're not seeing your reflection in the mirror. You're seeing yourself from behind the mirror looking at yourself. And then that's how you can... It's one technique to learn how to get out of the body. But, which is important. Little things that people don't know, or big things that people don't know, are very important. And that is one of the most important things you can learn on this planet. I know you put too much emphasis on it. If you do for a while, take your attention off of it then. Put your attention on something totally different for a while to give yourself a little space to adjust. Because the old saying, if you push on the door that opens in, it'll never open. You got to step away from the door and let it open. And if nothing's happening, you need to do that. But be aware. Be aware of what you're doing. So, I've been pushing so hard, I'm going to let you have the next chance or show me the next step. Trying to make God, Spirit, angels, or anything do anything is a ridiculous idea. To think that aliens are going to listen to us is another ridiculous idea. Mankind looks for, it's a blame of science and what government pays scientists to tell us. The whole space program's a lie that we know. The idea that we can't go to Mars, we can't go to Venus, is a lie. The idea that we didn't go to the moon, another perverted, twisted lie. But why? What's happening now? What did we discover? I can go into that, but my time's running short. I don't want to go into that right now. We need to look at the place where we are, where you're standing right now. Look around. Does it look the same every day? Probably does. Anything going on in there? Important? Why not? What's important to you? Going to the games, watching football, baseball, going to Disney World, Disneyland. I mean, there are things you can focus on doing. But what's the foundation of why we're doing all that? To be happy for a day? Like I mentioned it, like we work all year long, I used to get I started with 1 week, then I got 2 weeks, and then I got 3 weeks. But you live you work your whole life with that 1, 2, 3 weeks a year vacation. And then you squeeze what you think you can get into that to make the whole year worth being tortured. Because how many people are in this great, beautiful, loving job that they're happy to be in? In the big percentage. Sure, there's people here and there that love their job. Are they limiting themselves? Many times they are. If you're happy working at Burger King, McDonald's, or in a bar, that's a limitation. You could be happy. You could be making some money, or even a lot of money. I mean, a stripper and all those kind of things make tons of money. So, could they be happy? One way, they got money. Money doesn't solve anything. Doesn't make anything better. In our mind, it does. Oh, I could buy steaks instead of eating peanut butter sandwiches. We believe all those things. Imagine not eating at all. 90% of the people on the planet don't have 3 meals a day. Don't even have a roof over their head. What do you think they're thinking about? Praying and sending unconditional love back to us or to other people? You want to believe that? People want to believe that. People think that just because you're in a Buddhist group or you're sitting there praying and meditating that you're spiritual. I close my eyes and chant the sound. I'm spiritual now? You're a wannabe. If you have to do it 10 hours a day, you're a wannabe. You can't get what you need in a short period of time, you're a wannabe. Go up into a mountain for 40 years, even 6 months, to wait for an answer? I guess your communication's not that important or solid. Soul knows that whatever it is you're looking for. I mean, it's the mind that says, no, that's not what we want. No, that's not what we want. We want something better, something great, something outrageous. Perfect job, perfect house, and all the perfect wife, perfect husband, all that. We can't deal with, oh, that's not. Oh, yes, it is. So, I'm went through a couple things today. I hope you're getting something out of this. You could always text me, hawksblood1aol.com. Questions, answers, whatever you feel, please do. I don't want to put all this out there for no reason at all. I know I have some people listen at least. But are the mass going to listen to me? No, because I'm taking away what they think they already have and they don't want any more or need any more. Truth. Well, Living the Lies, my newest book, and since I got about 15 minutes, a little more, I'm going to talk about my new book because it's my life now. It always was, but I never brought it out the way I did. And when I was a young boy, I was forced, had to go to church every Sunday, had to go to Sunday school, and then I had to go to the church for the main mass, prayer, whatever it's called. I don't even know anymore. But so I had to sit through an hour in one class and then an hour in church for years when I was little. Not that I really cared, but here's the one thing that was interesting. When I turned 14 and I was being baptized as a Protestant, I was allowed to ask my minister 3 questions. So I thought about it. I said, I know what I want to ask him. So when I got baptized, I went in a room with him and I said, well, what's God look like? And the answer was, nobody knows what God looks like. Well, then I said, what do you do in heaven? Well, nobody knows what you really do in heaven. Why do you believe in God? And he couldn't answer it. So, I could have got some bull answer as well, but he couldn't even answer it. What do you expect? I mean, the stories that are told to us, the pearly gates, if you're Catholic, you'll be met by St. Peter, and all those kind of things. It programs the subconscious mind. It truly does. It doesn't allow soul to become what it is and what it wants to do, and then it has to deal with that. And that causes karma. And it stops us from becoming aware of what we need to become aware of. So after that, well, I guess I was about 6. My life changed dramatically every which way. I mean, my book, I'll send it to you if you want it, hawksblood1aol.com. It's How to See God was my first book. My biography was When Truth is Called Crazy. I'll send you both of them, one at a time. Make sure you read one before you read the other. But basically, I was in an abusive family when I was little. And it wasn't just my family. It had to do with friends and everything else as well. But I started having everything change when I became roughly 6 years old. I started working with the deity. I saw my first alien ship. I dealt with that at a real strange kind of level, trying to keep my brother from getting abducted. And then a deity came into my reality for 5 years. At 6 years old till I was 11, no idea what a deity was, no way to relate to it other than it was incredibly beautiful, teaching me things about things a little child would probably not even ask to know. And it was interesting because when I started learning things, I felt that there was some kind of connection there. I didn't know to what, why, or anything like that. But I look forward to going to this realm with this being every night. But I had a dream. It was a sexual dream when I was little. I was married to a Japanese woman.